Of course, this is an asked and answered episode of Gentleman Villain Podcast where we ask questions and we get questions from Twitter. And I've warned the Twitter people, make the questions good. And for you, Mr. Regal, I'm going to follow up with a question of my own real quick. I'm not sure if you know about this young fella, but he is signed to a AEW developmental contract. Are you in the loop at all on Nick Wayne? Have you seen him
yes.
at all?
I knew his dad.
Yeah, buddy, right? Yeah.
Yes, I've known about him since he was young. I got to meet him a couple of times recently, and what a lovely, polite young man he is.
Have you seen him wrestle at all?
Yes, and is let's just leave this where it stays now.
Sure.
I don't like putting people out. I've done so much, whatever I've done, and because of the job I used to be in, people. One of the first questions people ask me, "Who's going to be the next big thing?" I'm not going to put. I just say, don't ask me, or I'm not telling you who I think, because I don't want to put pressure on them.
Right.
I've seen too many people put too much pressure on these young lads and young ladies to get too good too quickly, and it can have a detriment to them. I just let them develop. Don't be you want to go scream from the rooftops about people, but he's 16. Let him develop, because he's incredibly good now. But just let him do his thing. You don't want to ram people too quickly with stuff, because it usually comes back to get you.
Yeah.
In some form or another, because there comes a point, if everybody's telling you how great you are, or everybody's the pressure gets on, because all of a sudden you expect it too much of. And I know everybody wants instant gratification now, but it's too much pressure to keep putting on young children, not children, but teenagers and people in their early 20s. By the time you get to about 25 or 26, yes, you can handle it. But when you start doing it from that age, it's that child star thing, isn't it? And it can backfire. So, incredibly talented young man with a good head on his shoulders, good people around him as well. That's a great. He's got a great support system of people around him. Hopefully not the wrong, but the people I know around him are good people. So it's just gonna get better and better. Thing is, I know a lot more than a lot of people think, because I don't go around blabbing my mouth. But I've seen it time and time again, when you put too much pressure on somebody when they're young, and it doesn't work out, or they end up going, and I'm proof of that. It wasn't pressure to me. It's just that I got to 26, and then I started looking for something that wasn't there.
Right.
I don't want that to happen to any of these younger people. They need to just keep doing what they're doing and keep getting better. And it's because I don't want them to lose precious time of their lives, or end up in a bad way like I did for a few years, because that's all it was. I was just looking for something that wasn't there, because I basically achieved everything I wanted at 20 something, because I was never I understood my role as a pro. It wasn't about that. People taught me, this is your job, do your job. And so, but once you've done it, and you've okay, I've come to America, I've done this, I've been on just pay-per-views, and I've wrestled Sting and Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat, and it's like, then I went looking for something that wasn't there, which is, you hear it in music, you hear it in child acts. Just, yes, go out and watch them, but don't put too much pressure on these people, and anybody who does, shame on you, right? Because it all adds up to these people. Don't put too much pressure on these young talent. Let them develop. And if there's enough people around, the right people, they will develop properly. And you're still going to have, it's all everybody, because we're all human and we all have problems. But it's other people that start thinking, oh, yeah, jumping on the bandwagon and trying to force them to, or putting pressure on them to be too good.
Right.
When how can you? No matter how good you are, you're 16 or you're 20 or you're 22, and it doesn't usually. At some point something isn't right. Right? It's you've just got to let them develop slowly.
That's some good
I'm never going to say
advice.
this again on this podcast, but that's what my, enough people know I don't like, but my lad has decided to do this. It's waiting till very recently. Very few people know who's my lad. And now he's 25 and he is what he is. But he went through it very differently than everybody else because I could tell him the way and he doesn't, you know what I mean? And try just never mention it because he wanted to earn his own, not only earn his own way, but he wasn't getting pressure put on him because not everybody is instantly good at 60 or when they first start.
Sure.
He slowly learned, and now he's got to a place where he's doing good, but he's still in a smaller thing doing his thing because he wants to get better before he really gets
Right.
seeing. But he's got me to and has had to live through some of my problems and seen it all. And I'm honest with him and tell him, and it's a bad thing when people start piling on all this pressure on him. Nick's doing great. Let him do great and let him keep going, and don't ruin him.
I'm gonna let that one sit for a second. Don't ruin him. And any young kids who are doing anything like this, I mean, that's such great advice.